In previous videos, we've talked about the repercussions of wrongdoings or doing good deeds. We talked about how important it is to have Allah's trust, and losing it really has some severe consequences. And we've talked about the end result being either paradise or hell. Now, have you wondered how real paradise and hell are? Are they just an empty promise or an empty threat? Let's find out in this week's Q&A. To back up these statements, we can dive into the Quran because we know there's a lot of science in there. There are so many scientific facts inside of the Quran that were only discovered years and years after the Quran came to earth. For example, in the Surah Al-Anbiya, there's a verse that says, "We created all the living creatures from water." Now, it took us until the 1500s to create the microscope and find out that humans are 60% water. Now, if these scientific facts are true in the Quran, why wouldn't the statements about paradise and hell be the same way? Now, our beliefs in paradise and hell are strengthened by our good deeds. But when you start doing haram things, eating and drinking haram food, or just doing haram deeds in general, you're going to stop believing in it. You're going to start being afraid of it because the possibility of it being true and going to hell. But at the same time, you're going to stop believing in it. Your strength is going to falter. So it has a direct relationship. The more you go towards haram things, the less likely you're going to believe in it. However, there are some cases where you don't want to believe in it because if hell is real, you're afraid of it. And the same way goes for when you're doing good deeds. The more good deeds that you do, the more you want to believe in it because you want to go to paradise. Now, let's make an analogy with school as we always do. If you were a bad student who never did their homework or took their test seriously or studied for anything at all, then odds are you're saying that I don't care about college because I don't need it, or you're saying that I don't need to find a job, I'll be okay. Because think about it this way, if you did think that college was a necessity, you wouldn't be a bad student. And if you were a bad student, you'd be fearing for your life because you're not going to be able to get into a good college. Now let's look at the other side. If you are a good student, always does their homework, studying nonstop, and cares about all their classes, then that obviously means that you think that college is a necessity. You need to get into a good college, and you're going to do anything that you can possibly do to get into it. Now, there are certain circumstances where you believe in that, but you can't execute properly, and you might not get into the best college. The important thing is that you did the best that you can. And so, our afterlife is the same way. There's always that threat that you might not be able to do enough good deeds and you might go to hell. Or, same way with the student, you might try to study but not get into the actual college you want to get into. And that threat will always be there to pressure us, but the pressure is good. And ultimately, it's up to Allah who's going to get into paradise and hell. We can't say this, and this is the reason why we're going to go to heaven or hell. It's ultimately up to Allah. It's His decision. All we can do is to try our best. Make sure that you do all the good deeds that you possibly can, and try your best to stay away from haram things. It's inevitable that you might get caught up into one, or it's inevitable that you might stray away from the good deeds, but it's about balance. You're going to have to try your best to do all the good deeds that you can. And overall, trust in Allah's mercy, because we know His name is Ar-Rahim.